Oh, Stellar Horizons 2, the story so far. Where are we? We've made it through a whole 70 years, 7 turns. 70 years sounds a lot more impressive. Significant amounts of exploration, including completion here at Barnard Star. Number of planets. No bases yet. Again, I'm doing a slower start than you're supposed to. Oops. Guess I got Rick Perry on my mind. Or our current government. But anyway. So, yeah, I mean, not a lot's happened. I've gone into a lot of detail. I feel almost like I have to with this game. That, like Euros, it's hard to see the story as the mechanism unwinds. Yeah, I could give you the big story of like, oh, well, some bases showed up here, and but yeah, it's really tough to see the who did what type of stuff. And some of that is the amount of players involved. If I was playing this in a 1 or 2 player scenario, it would be a lot easier to express sort of a simpler narrative. But there's so much going on in so much detail, and I don't know. I haven't figured out how to step back. All right, we'll try to leave politics out of these more, which may mean I have to do a political video, but at least, ooh, I did not complete my turn. I have a bunch of IPs to hand out here. Okay, this went perfectly fine. This goes perfectly fine. But I got 1, 2, 3 IPs that are getting handed out. So that's done. Nothing too exciting. And it's kind of funny, I'm less and less playing my secondary computer game that, I guess that kind of comes in fits and starts. So when I feel like I have to sit in front of the computer and do something, I'm more willing to do it. But I think I ought to just drop it. It's not an interesting game in the way that Raid is, but there's still this sort of, I like collecting things, obviously. But yeah, I really think I ought to just give it up and stop even going to the website. Because I go in there, I start doing a minimal type of thing, and I end up spending at least an hour on it, which wouldn't be bad if I wasn't spending, 8 to 12 hours on Raid every day. Okay, so I'm in the mood to come back and play a little more. It's about 5 a.m. on Friday. Not a great idea. I should be getting to sleep, but hey, at least I'm not playing that other game. Or I've avoided it so far. Let's see if we got a war. We do. That's going to change everything. Because I'm not going to play with there's an option that allows Earth to always be peaceful. I'm not going to play with that. And that gives the Praetorians especially a powerful situation. This is an early start to the war. Reminds me, I was looking at somebody, they wrote a post. I don't know if they've been doing the playthrough at all on anything beyond this, but that they played this solo, and like in 25-50 or whatever the first turn that they were going to have, basically to end the game, it ended on them, and that's like a 1% chance or whatever. Hey, but they ended up losing tremendously due to that. That's actually a problematic thing. If you look at anything really in terms of the victory conditions here. Look, whoever wins the game, and that's great and all. But if you're worried about the galactic rank thing, it's highly dependent on that end of game roll. In fact, so much so that start rolling. Yeah, I think his actually ended sometime around 2550. It may not have been the 1%. Oh no, yeah, it may have been the 1%, or maybe he was looking at the 2500 and got the 5%, like I got the 7% this turn. Well, but either way, if the game ends early, you're suffering a major hit in terms of victory points. But it could also go on for quite a long time. And it's like, this is just really, how long did the game go? Which is kind of reflective of trying to score across various games of 18xx, where it's like, yeah, this is the highest score I ever got in 1830. Yeah, that's because the bank failed to break by a couple of bucks, so there was room for another 3 operating rounds or whatever. It's that kind of thing. This score is meaningless, which means solo play. I mean, it's not entirely, but what it should really be is it should be based on whatever that percentage is. And don't worry about this more futuristic end. If you want to delay the game, start rolling later, just have a modifier to the score based on how long you're playing. Obviously, it's going to break down at certain points, but they've got something here where it's like 50 points is 5 turns. Okay, well, if each turn is about 10 points, just allocate that across the board. Don't give me a bonus or a penalty because I decided to delay the game, delay checking when the game ends. The game could end on that turn. The game could end 80 turns later. Oh, it's that bad. If you get a real big swing of luck, sure, it's a lot of die rolls. And we can see this happened relatively quickly. Big win for the Praetorians. They were actually considering, geez, why do I have this combat directive? I'll never be able to reach that. Yes, I want to get combat directives, but I won't reach it. And somebody else discarded a combat directive, paying the price for it. Because again, it's not, now for them, it wasn't a key thing. Anyway, what do we get for chits? We have reshuffled. We get an event. Well, that means I got to play baggies. And we have Contagion, or Congestion. Roll a die at the end of each turn and destroy a settlement on a 3 or less until resolved. Okay. Interesting. So, I don't know if that actually shows up anywhere. This doesn't look like it's based on a base, but I think it actually is. Draw a random event. If it doesn't have a combat or science, perform the action listed and return it to the pool. Okay. It does have a challenge. So the player with the worst initiative who has at least 1 base. Nobody has a base. We avoid the event again. This would be vile, right? Destroy a settlement on a 3 or less until it's resolved. Ooh. I think that's in the system that it's at. Now this is how do you read this? Roll a die at the end of each turn and destroy a settlement. I mean, if it was true contagion, it would go all over the place. But let's say it's just in one area, in one sector. Well, what it doesn't say is who's impacted by it. Let's say multiple people have bases. Who makes the choice of this? I don't know. Is there something about initiative that talks about this? Wow. Oh, nobody had any escalation, of course. Yeah, I don't know if there's anywhere, I don't recall anything about it, so I can't even guess where I'd find it if it existed, and I don't expect it to exist, so I'm not going to look even. But I have no idea, does each player do this? I guess it's kind of a make up your own rules game in a lot of ways. Makes me feel better. Although I expect such things to be in the rules, it might be in the player guide. Do we have a section on events? We do. It does not help us. Yeah. You can't put vague little note type statements, and there's plenty of room on these counters, right? This could have told me. Now, wait a minute. No, it just says event on the back, right? Yeah, I mean, there's ones with lots and lots of information on them. There's plenty of room if they're going to go down to fonts like this on counters that they could have gotten away with putting enough text in there to make it understandable. But as it stands, yeah, make up your own rules, man. Have fun. All right, onward. On the build ship system, and oh boy, can the Praetorians take advantage of this. They're going midway through the turn. Decisions have to be made here. These guys almost certainly don't want to build ships. They're just asking for it if they do, right? But if the Praetorians build a combat ship here, they can kind of starve everyone out. Now, if they do that, other players can combine. Can they not? I don't know. They can certainly attack separately, but let's take a look at combat. Yeah, there doesn't appear to be any kind of alliance structure here, but you can create an alliance by sending, one player's wave of ships in, another player's wave of ships in, whatever. So, and you can also save up money and build a fleet. Let's say the Praetorians have a single ship. Well, I can build a couple of ships, but it can delay people a great deal to just start blockading Earth, as it were. There are some players who would hate the idea of that kind of situation, where, like the transhumanists, they're going to have to decide, well, do I spend money to build ships? Yeah, well, I don't have money, so easy decision for me. The true path, not a lot of money. Probably done. I don't want to put one of these out. Here's the thing, though. Let's say the transhumanists, well, first of all, the transhumanists don't have a ship. But they're not the only ones who can fuck with this. The true path is going so late that they don't know what other people might want to do. So I got to make some thought here. I've got someone who's landing. I don't have a military there. I actually kind of feel like I need to build a military ship now, where I've kind of avoided it before. I don't have explorers. My game is going to be put on hold. If this thing gets wrecked, and are there any warships? There are no warships there yet. At least there's that. And you can't destroy the last base. If I recall correctly. Maybe not. Oh, bases can be destroyed. Ooh, nasty. Yeah. So, like, everything's kind of in a bad place now. Maybe we should have been preparing for war before, right? But that's expensive, and the chances were low. I can see a lot of people being really unhappy with the idea that showing up here and opening yourself up to being attacked would really put you at a huge disadvantage. I think the initiative thing makes that it makes it very clear whether you're likely to be attacked. I can look at all the other players, right? I have military ships. Who else does? Can I cut deals with those players? Do I know how much money they have on hand? How much of this information is open? And then, and another way of playing it would be to like hidden allocate what ships you have, which would be really nasty. That would take some of the advantage away from initiative and thus unbalance some of the cards if they're balanced. I could see some players who are just like, oh fuck, the combat rules are just so nasty that, and I don't know if they are, but they're just so nasty and so dangerous that like, I really don't want to play with combat at all. There's luck for them as well. There's the cooperative game. You can play this in a non-violent way. Of course, you're all going for the same victory point score. You're all sharing your victory point score, so you don't get to win. Yeah, you know, it's not like there's a shit ton of strategy in this game, right? There's a lot of juggling in your mind of what you need to do and whatever. But I don't really feel like this is a game that's going to be won on the decisions you make with points alone. Things like combat are going to be an important part of the base game. Anyway, I personally like the idea of this. I think it's really cool. The initiative kind of reflects some sort of better control over Earth. It's not like Earth itself can be attacked, but Shining Path decides, fuck it, I'm building a warship. Praetorians don't have one. Could have talked with these guys, because they're sitting at the same table with me, the kids' table, I guess. But really, I'm looking around at everybody's warships. None. There's a big one there, but they've already passed. None. This is the only guy who has any. If we could come to some sort of agreement, cool shit could happen. We're both undesirables, though. And he's not really willing to give peace here. He's got the advantages. I don't think the True Path has an opportunity to offer anything up. I don't know. Does he decide not to build that ship? Because he's got all the disadvantages in his way. No, he's going to go ahead with it. It'll probably be a bad idea. Part of the reason is I just don't have a lot of ships out there. I have one surveyor and this animal spirit or whatever. Ardent spirit, sorry. Yeah, animal spirits were on my mind from my trans rant. All right. Well, he's not gonna let it go by if he has money. He has some. That's 6. Can't buy that. But yeah, I'm gonna go with a bigger military ship, and it's easy to repair things at Earth. Ah, shit me. What happened here? I don't know. I'll give him this. I think, so the planetary number is gone. He picked one up, presumably from there. I think I did everything there, and I just forgot to move that counter. He has 2 hits on his ship. Warfare has opened up. For $5 on my turn, I can repair that. Half the price of the ship. For $3, I could repair 1. I think I'll repair that 1. I didn't really consider that before. I don't know. Do I have any combat tech? By the way, I think we're going to see a very violent game. Like, I can imagine games of this being pretty peaceable. I think mine's going to be really violent because it looks to me like there are huge advantages. So it depends on what your goal is, right? If your goal is to win the game compared to your other players, your opponents, I think violence is the answer, because games are psychopathic in nature. If your goal is to get a good galactic rank, violence is not necessarily the answer. But if you can dominate the area around Earth, you might be able to outproduce everyone else. I think in a small number of players, although there's less room for competition for people, violence is escalated to a greater value. But look, I'm the fucking Praetorians. So what do I do with that $3? I spend it. Or I can't find it. Unless it's over here. Nope. I don't know what I did with it. Did I insert it into some pages accidentally? As far as I can tell, I spent it. Okay. Yeah, I guess I'm fixing my ship then, because I don't want to pull it back out. But I can only fix it one level for those $3. It's a big thing. I don't have another warship, so I can't build something here. These two both built. That has kept anyone else from building anything. So we're there. And now, yeah, nobody's going to build fucking colonies and try to ship them out. Now we're in the combat phase. Importantly, it's before cargo transfer and trade. That's a big deal because after combat, if this guy wins, he can load up on goods and sail out, or he could stick around for cheaper repair costs. Strangely, combat is handled in initiative order. Again, combat's sort of it's not clear that you want to go first or not for that. The advantage of going first, well, you might capture things that are good for you, that aren't available to other players as easily. The bad thing is, you're going to roll combat dice, possibly get damaged, and then someone else gets to do something. So let's see how this is handled. This is our first attempt yet to do combat in the game. Okay. First player is the greenies. I scan around. Greenies have nothing that can attack. I'm going to push them down. We may not be this precise in other games of it, in other situations. Here I got a combat, but nobody's there yet for blue. That's blue's only combat option. Nobody's got bases, so there's no base combat, no ground combat, no raids, nothing. The consortium. Let's find their ships. They got a couple of ships flying out here with combat values. And that's it. The Praetorians. I have this with a combat value of 5. There are enemy ships here. Let's look. You can initiate one combat. Okay. If I do a fleet combat, I choose one or more armed CVs to include for myself. And I only get to choose one person to defend, which kind of sucks. You should, I feel like you should be able to dominate a system with your fleet. Well, I could blow this up trivially. That is a combat with RE. You can't attack REs in Sol or a system where there are bases or CVs of the same faction. Yeah, because you have to attack those. Yeah, so people could actually build REs at Sol. Huh. Let me reconsider. If a player had the money to do this, that's the givers. They could build this kind of shitty RE. I think I want to save money for other stuff. I don't think that I'm terribly interested. Where's my fleet? My fleet's heading this way, where it's going to get picked on if I'm not careful. But my CV range is what? It is just one space. So I can't really run away. I do have, whatever this is, 60%. A lot of people have that. Do I have another bonus? I have the terraforming bonus. I don't even fucking know how to terraform. But that comes up with a chit, or for the other thing, if I have a mining ship, which I do not, I have a, yeah, so I think I'm gonna have to just establish my base. If it gets wiped out, I get an IP. That's pretty shitty for $4 billion and the effort to get there. Ugh, nasty. Okay. So I'm working my way down the initiative order. Praetorians are up. What is the cost for generating a combat? The attacker draws escalation markers, and the defender draws an equal number of IPs. Any combat except a raid with no effect is worth +1. Destroying stuff is worth points. Fully eliminating a base. Attacking in soul is worth a couple. That's a lot of escalation markers we're going to see if people fight. They might choose not to. It might be that the escalation's nasty enough that you don't want to, but three of them lets you, no, that's exploration markers. 6 escalation markers allows you to take Warlord, which gives you a +1 to combat die rolls, but you can't have any other titles. But it's 10 victory points. I don't know. You can discard the title so you can buy another one. I don't know. Well, like I said, I think some people are wanting to fight. So the Praetorians, what do they want to do? Well, their choices are combat and RE. I'm not that worried about the RE. Do I want to blow up the Daedalus? It's Daedalus, Herc. Daedalus. Okay. Anybody who gets that. So the only thing I can do is fleet combat. I think I'm going to try to blow up Daedalus. Because I am the fucking Praetorians. Which means, we'll keep this open here. We'll flip this over so I have the combat chart. And we add up the combat values of the attacker and defender. Each side rolls a die and cross-references their roll with their combat value. Add a die roll modifier equal to 1/10 the sum of the enemy CV values, with fast ships counting as one size less. Okay, so we're both CV2s. We're not going to reach a half, so that's not going to be anything. There are no settlements being attacked. So what do we hit? I think settlements would actually just be added to the die roll thing, even if you're not attacking settlements. That's the way it looks like it's written. So we've got a 5. Looks like they have a 0. Do they get to roll? It appears they do, unless it says something different. Yeah, it appears they do. Okay, both sides roll simultaneously. The Praetorians are going to get the red die because they're reds. Well, they're pinkos. They have +1 to combat rolls, and they're attacking the transhumanists who have no advantages showing. I have 5 combat value with a +1 to the die roll. That's it. I rolled a 5 to 5. I do 1 big hit. They have no combat value. They don't roll. Okay, so I did a hit. Well, that's not very impressive. I did a hit to CV2. The Daedalus. Sorry, the number is not its identification. Now, I believe we have 1 IP goes to the transhumanists for being beaten up on. I think this is trans hatred. And then, somewhere or another, I have a pile of chits. And if we're going to see a lot of combat, I need another container. Use a fight a cheese container. Actually, I have a fair amount of this size. I can definitely get trade goods into one of these if that's desirable. I don't know if it is. Okay, what's my escalation? This is for the Praetorians. They get settlements cost +1 billion on Earth. I'll put that up here. Remember, I get to discard half of them each cycle. But ouch, that kind of blows. There's a cost to being a baddie. Okay. Well, that was him. This guy's next. He has the advantage. My goods are flora. Does anybody fucking want flora? Nobody cares about flora. Built my ship to attack. Not sure I'm happy. I have the capability to take additional damage, though. I thought this would be more violent. Okay, again, red for the pirates. They're gonna launch an attack. CV size isn't gonna affect anything, even though this is our. I'm no better. I'm no better. Yeah, I thought this was going to be more destructive than it is. Oh, okay, let's think. A 4 combat value. I mean, if damage equals or exceeds half their size, they can't combat. They can't be included as an attacker's combat. They're destroyed by equal to their size. Oh, fuck. I would have repaired this earlier had that been the case. Probably wouldn't have launched an attack even. Yeah, actually I wasn't allowed to launch an attack. How about that? All right, let's repair. I didn't realize, I thought CVs were destroyed when they ran out of points. Okay, we will get rid of this. We get rid of the damage that it caused, because they wouldn't have been allowed to attack. Their ship is too damaged. And they would have paid to repair earlier, had I realized I was 1 point away from dying. Okay, and that takes one of these away from the transhumanists. There goes that attack. Yeah, I got a chance of destroying a ship. Do I want to do it? What do I gain? Did I want to build a ship? Did I want to build a settlement? I don't want to build a settlement. But I don't think I wanted to build a ship. These guys wanted to. I think these guys will refrain from building their $6 ship. I think we're just not going to see combat because the cost is so high. Like, the thought of blockading seems big, but the cost of being a bad guy, and on Earth, that cost is high. So let's look at this. Let's say I attack, that would be +1. Let's say I succeed, that gets me to +2, and then 2 more for Sol. I'd be getting 4 of those counters and handing 4 IP over. I don't think that's worth it. So I'm not going to do it. Might be different situation in a 2-player game, but in 7 players, I'm taking a big hit to build this ship, which I don't have a ton of money about, and I need the tech and whatnot. And in fact, what I may build is an RE. Let me build an RE instead. That's only $4. The RE can't be picked on, right? Because it's in Sol. It would normally be able to be picked on, but it can't be attacked on Sol. And that's not like a, oh no, must not destroy robots there. I think it's the idea that they're launching too fast. There's just not enough information to get it. Or it's a play balance thing, but yeah. Okay, so I'm going to say there's no battles. How about that? But we got to see what a battle would look like, and then had to reverse it. Right then. Grady great. Cargo transfer and trade. Could have picked up my cargo, didn't want to. Okay, don't have the ship for it. Movement. Movement's reverse initiative order. Gotta think. These guys obviously are gonna move. Other guys, maybe, because things are starting to get scary. Tell you, I also would not have done a survey here. I would have done a research. Because this ship is a research ship. And it can't take damage from research. Scared. The transhumanists, they're leaving here and here because military ships are due to arrive. They have an RE range of 2. And I'm just sailing my REs out. You know, it's one thing to like balance it out and say, what are my odds of, succeeding and whatnot. But now it's like, yeah, I'm going to die if I stay there, so let's fly away. I got another choice, though, here. Unfortunately, my CV range should still be 1. I don't know where that is. That's here. That's a long ways away. And, am I safe going anywhere else? The transhumanists have, what is this, 60%, I guess? And, oh shit. 60% and nothing else I can do. I mean, I may just have to suffer. That's the way of it. I could try to move the Daedalus away somewhere. I don't know where to go. I could go back to Earth in the hopes of picking up settlers or, try to explore here where I can't live. I mean, there's no real harm to it. I don't see much good. Like, I'm really scared at this point as them. But I think I'll hold off and push that up. But we got to make these decisions for everyone. Thought for the true path here. They're able to survive places other people aren't. They are at the 60%. They could get it down to the 40, conceivably. And they have an additional 20% habitability. I could move here where no one else can go. I can't go out here. I could jump here I could live there right now. I could live here right now. Although I'm an undesirable person to be near, because I convert things, I'm not really sure that like being undesirable means that they might wipe me out. So, like the transhumanists, who are not undesirable, but also might be wiped out, I have a fear, you know? I don't have a big military or anything right now. The thought of trying to ship stuff to here, I can get to this 40%. There's no lines going into that. It's only a 10. Oh, wait. Who is this? Oh, shit. I suck. I can only go to 60%. Yeah, oops. I could go up here, but nothing can live there. All right, I guess I'm staying where I am. I may send reinforcements in. One extra damage becomes a lot more impressive at this point in the game. If ships can only take 2 and then they're destroyed, 1 extra, that's nice. I did fuck one thing up. Before movement started, Shining Path settles their base here at Alpha Centauri. I don't think that gives me anything. I now have a base, and that's my only base allowed unless I lose it for this century. Wow. I think I don't know. I don't know if you can ever be in a position. So here's the thing. You have a max range on CVs. What happens if you exceed that max range? Like, that can happen. Somebody could destroy my base. I could choose to destroy it, and, you know, while trying to set myself up to settle somewhere else. So where does that max range on CVs come into play? When does it come into play? It's got to come into play during the movement phase. You can only move to systems that are in range. That's the time when you check. And any time after that, you could destroy your bases, I guess. So I could, like, if I had 2 people here, I could keep 1 on board, and I could jump a little further. Of course, there's nothing of interest a little further. Everybody is leaving Barnard's Star with its no exploration, because nobody looks like they're willing to deal with those nanobots. Here's something ugly. You can't perform an exploration action in a system that had no exploration anomaly at the start of turn except for resolving the anomaly. So I can't do mining or research or anything like that. Luckily it says except for resolving the anomaly. So he's going to have to move on too. Up to him. I'm also looking for where else blue is. This one's a no base. I'm fine with that. Although this guy's showing up at the wrong place under those circumstances, but he can't change where he's going. Noticed I have a marker here. I think I did not give him an IP for that. I'm not positive. I think I may have. I'm not sure. Like, I don't remember how many I handed out, but I feel like he gained 1, and he only did 1 thing, and that's the thing. So I think I did actually give it to him. I moved the guy who was here because there's warships coming, got to get out of their way, just like everybody else is getting out of places. But I got 1 more ship. I still have this ship, and I don't know what to do with him. He has a 3-point military, a 5-point science. He can't resolve either of these on his own. I don't have more ships available, whatever. I don't know when I'm going to get the money or tech to push things further. I don't feel like I have a hell of a lot of either. I can't Well, I can survey things, but I'm outgunned here. I can't go here, it's too far away from Earth. This is useless. I could slide way down to there, but that's going to be expensive because my CV movement is currently times 4. So that would take like 8 turns to get there. Kind of like I might as well just go here and hope I don't get wiped out by a slightly bigger ship for very little gain. You know, this guy would be taking an escalation, he'd be giving me IP. It might not be worth it. Well, he'd be taking a lot of escalation if he does anything too damaging to me. I'd stick around here for these guys to arrive, but they'll blow me out of space, right? If anybody who's able to handle this is dangerous. I'm on the last one, the Givers. They probably want to get away from a lot of places too. All right, that's the end of movement. I'm on exploration. This kind of sucks because I shouldn't have started this turn is what it comes down to. It's ended up being a heavier turn than I thought, but I kind of have to go, I kind of have to just run through it because I need to get to sleep. But I'm not really tired, so it's okay, and I don't want to just take a break or whatever because then maybe I will be tired. We have a lot more of the map being covered, and that's because the REs, most of them, are at range 2. I hope I didn't cheat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Who doesn't have one? Pink. Pink tried to cheat. Pink came from here. He only has a range of 1. So he cannot declare that movement. I got a big warship heading here that's going to handle that. I guess I go here instead. Does that change anybody else's move? Because Pink kind of went first. Fuck them. Probably not. Okay, whatever. And now I'll start looking for explorations. The explorations aren't going to be in the outer rim. They're going to only be in the inner stuff. And there's a lot less of them now. You can see there's movement markers on so many ships because combat happening disrupted everything, as along with these anomalies and stuff like that. Yeah, the only place anything's going on is here. And I don't remember if I do this in initiative or reverse initiative or if it even matters. So the interesting thing is this guy. He wants to do, and he should have done this earlier, he wants to do research. Research can research in a system that has a revealed world and no base you control. I have no base there. Only the shiny star has a base. True path, whatever. Pick a world and roll a die. If it's less than or equal to the world's resource plus half your ship's exploration. My ship's exploration is 4, so I'm at +2. 5 is the best I get. That looks blue, so I'm guessing that's physics. We fail. Nothing bad happens though. Research is safe. Uh-oh, battery dead. Okay. Let's see what we got then. So he failed. The Ardent Spirit. I have a base, so I can't do research or mining. Which means, yeah, I'll just do normal. And the Daedalus probably just wants to do normal as well. Where's the marker? This is the one that got discovered? It needs to have something. It either needs one of these markers or it needs one of these. Well, I think somebody finished it off. Who finished it off? I don't know. And I also don't know where the counters are. Are they in here? Yeah, there should be a demand marker there. Now, I don't know who would have finished it off. It would be yellow, gray, not pink. And pink probably did it. I'm going to let Gray choose for what it's worth, so it's either machinery or medicine. He has medicine on Earth, so he's going to put that there. I think I just forgot to deal with it. Makes sense. There's an Earth-like world. That's a good place for medicine. What does that mean? I don't know what it means. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. I can't think. So this guy can't do shit. Because the only choice, I guess I could terraform if I was like able to terraform, but I'm not. Okay. Where is it? Exploration. Can use to explore, anomaly, event, mine, research, or terraform. He can't do shit. Which to me means Daedalus is going to do the same kind of thing. A 3, 4, 5. That's it. I get a physics. What color is this? That's green. If I zoom in, I can see the color difference. Out here, I cannot. Okay. So they get that. Exploration has plummeted in terms of values that people are getting, which means developed tech is going to be problematic now. I thought everything was good, but the warfare, the anomalies, they've made the world ugly. This time I remembered to reshuffle the decks before I start stuff, and we're going to be on the transhumanists who have very little. They're probably going to ditch cards. I think a lot of people are going to ditch cards, which means the pools are going to get empty. Humanists ditched their cards. Shiny Path liked their cards and had research technology, so they're going to buy whatever this is because it's cheap. A lower RE malfunction, fine, whatever. I don't care. I'm just trying to keep my cards. I don't know what I'm trying to do. I really don't. But it was cheap. But now we're on these guys, and they have cards they want to keep and shit for points. They do have some money. I've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I mean, if there's a card I really want to buy, I can spend my influence on it. Or I can dump my good cards. The thing that's looking really appealing is greater CV range. But that's a long ways away for everyone. The tech chart is so painful. Not deciphering it right now, but trying to figure out what I want to do. So this is really cheap. I'd love to do it. It's only going to cost me 5. It would fill me out. Gets me towards a faster CV movement modifier, which seems really valuable to a guy who wants to conquer stuff. But, but, I got no physics. I got other things. Being able to build CV3s, that might be cool. Bigger ships. That might be my best move. But I don't get any victory points or anything. I don't get IP from it, and it's not as cheap as it can be. I open it up so that everyone else can get it for 5. I don't like doing that. This I could get a little cheaper too, but I'm really not that interested in it. Biology, CV malfunction rate, useful, but I'm kind of interested in being an asshole. Terraforming. I don't know how much I care about terraforming. There is a victory point bonus for terraforming. I think I just buy. Oh, no, I don't know. Yeah, I think I go to the CV3s. But that's shitty. I have 2 4s and a 2. It cost me 7. Yeah, don't want to do that. Don't want to waste a point. And I mean, yeah, I have things like this to play with, but again, don't want to waste a point. Not a good idea. So I'm not doing much exploring. I'm going to put 9 in, and I'm going to buy terraforming or that. I think I like the Advanced Interstellar Settlement better. And I'll get the IP from that. Woo! It's going to be hard to tell. There's 9 here. So here, what do I have here? Yeah, this is confusing. 1, 2. That's these 2. 3, 4, 5, 6. So not everyone's in there still. These are confusing me more. I don't know. They confuse me in one direction or they confuse me in the other. So, yeah, whatever. I'm also put in this kind of painful position of, I want to keep my cards. I don't have the numbers to buy what I want to buy. I think it's a physics card I want to buy, right? No, it was a biology card. Hold on. Yeah, but I would have to dig into my influence. I have no money. My ships are hiding. My next thought was, I could buy this. That's kind of cool. Or I could buy this, which is even cooler. It would cost me 7. Well, I've got 8. Do I want to throw one away? No, not really. So I bought this, which I could get exactly, but it doesn't really fit into my strategy as well. But it's like, fuck it. I mean, I'm not really sure that the engineering was that important either. It was just kind of a, So quite often I find myself making decisions based on, well, do I have the right change for this? Which feels weird as hell. Players choose to pass. They ditch their cards. That means there's no Fleet 1 card available for anyone. That's fine. And that leaves me to the givers who look like they have some points. I did not like their cards. And definitely didn't want to spend, like I could have spent 5 to go here. Because all of these are there. And I mean, I could just spend $1 to have done that. But I chose to draw in part because, hey, let's see this. I don't know. It's awfully expensive. And this is as shitty as the card that I'd throw away. Part of my decision was, well, I don't know if I want to spend $1, but also I kind of want to get rid of my cards, which is different from the last guy who didn't want to get rid of his cards, but was willing to. All right, that's actually the end of the turn, and that battery is lying to me. So that's probably it until after I'm done dancing, which probably means Sunday. It is currently Friday morning, I'm guessing after 5. Right, here it is, I guess Sunday morning, barely. A little before 1. And it's always hard to get up here. I mean, this is still Saturday to me. First of all, I sleep, the whole day through because I need to recover. And Didn't used to be that way. Even, you know, well, basically, even while I was living here in Eugene and going in the most recent times, I was okay. But since my schedule has, yeah, I mean, I used to make my way down to the game store at noon, 1 p.m. to play. You know, I'd have something to eat or whatever. But yeah, that's just not happening anymore. Now, I get up for a few hours, play some Raid or whatever. Anyway, let's see what we got. Earth production. We're still in the same century, so it should be the same kind of thing. Cash, tech markers, and that's it. We really need the cash infusion at the very least. The tech markers will help as well, although most of the players have a little bit of tech markers. There are a couple who could definitely use some more. But in terms of cash, players are really starving. By the way, the designer did point out something to me, which is if you don't like a trade marker, you can turn it in for like $1 billion. That might actually be really worthwhile early in the game. Like we had people who were strapped for cash and could have used an extra $1 billion or whatever. I'm not sure when that happens. Is that when you draw them? It's so hard for me to find anything in here. I don't know why. Earn cash indicated on the back of the goods for each you sell. Yeah, I don't see it. Earth and Earth-like moons count as Earth. This means goods on Earth will always get 1 billion based on the demand marker. That's these demands. You can only sell it in systems with the demand marker. So if you don't draw that kind of demand, I don't see how you can. I also have I don't think anybody has the demands that were there. It's fine art, ore, and rare materials. Yeah, I don't know where he got this from. Here we go. Yeah, not quite what I'd expect. You can also unload trade goods on bases or Earth, transfer them to other ships, or destroy them at any time except during combat. Destroyed goods earn $1 billion. So that's where it is you're destroying them. Yeah. What kind of payoff do you get from goods? I mean, it doesn't feel like it's that much. Like this is $2 billion. Why would you worry about shipping stuff if all it produces is a couple $1 billion? This one produces 4. That's a little bit more attractive. But yeah, it seems like a lot of effort for not a lot of money when you can just like cash them in for $1 billion each. Huh. I mean, obviously you have directives and whatnot, and maybe if you can build up something useful, but it's not like you can build a trade route that you use constantly or anything like that. I don't know how viable trade is, you know, in comparison to just the default $1 billion for that. Anyway, that's not where we're at. We're producing the money, and I'm just delaying getting started. After the influx of cash, we have some arrivals. I'm very happy in some cases. Like, oh no, there's terrible stuff here. We can't deal with it. That wasn't there when we got our first reports. Yeah, definitely find going column by column is a good idea, just to keep the sanity. And I think that would work better opposed as well. I'm on the build and repair ships. The problem is, I'm feeling kind of nauseous, like I do when, like, this happens when I'm ill. Like, sometimes I'm kind of ill, and I'm hoping I'm not ill. I'm hoping this is just the overexertion. But I'm not sure that I can actually keep going right now, because what happens is when I concentrate on something and really focus on thinking and whatnot, it's almost like my brain is overheating and I start getting into a sweat or whatever. Let me see if I can do the build and repair ships. Maybe that'll help. I don't know. At the Transhumanist, first thing, they're the first ones on there. First thing I got to do is I got to count my ships, and I counted 3. This is kind of a difficult process with so many ships on the board. I think this, no, that's not them. Okay. I've got 3 remaining ships. Now, I noticed something interesting. Medicine, the one place where there's anything in existence, wants medicine. I have medicine. Unfortunately, I don't have a ship that I could build that could carry medicine. I do have a transport ship here that I could send back. Is that the best use for me? My goal is to trade goods to Earth, not to somewhere else. But I mean, a trade item could show up if I establish this base next turn and trade goods don't come up. Trade good could show up that I could deliver to Earth. Again, I'm looking at hey, what is the value of me trading this? So I would transfer over here. My speed is times 4. Okay. So it cost me 4 turns to get here, 4 turns to get back, 8 turns, and I'd get a couple $billion and maybe be able to do something. That just doesn't seem worth it, right? I think I'm better off going somewhere else and doing exploration. So I'm in a position, hey, I got a warship I could build. That at least puts some threat. Somebody attacks me, and I look around. This guy could build a shit ton of warships, but he's the only real threat to me. Do I want a chance building a warship? It would suck if it gets destroyed. That would cost me heavily. But, like in many multiplayer games, the penalty from these may not be as great as destroying an enemy ship would be. But I'm taking a hit. Let's say the Syndicate wants to attack. The Syndicate would be taking a hit in order to cause maybe a slightly larger hit to another player. Plus it's an attack at Earth, so it's actually a pretty large hit. So I think he might feel safe, but he might not. I don't know. The one advantage that I have is that there's no one. Oh no, there is someone there. Why didn't he resolve that? Oh, he just showed up. Okay. Yeah, I think I'll just build my REs in that case. Path made the same decision. Much as they really want to colonize stuff, they're really afraid. But what they didn't do is take into account how many ships the Syndicate has. Now, the Syndicate could destroy an RE or something to free up space for a ship. So it's not completely a ridiculous idea to be afraid of them. But since they go here, they have already 1, 2, 3, 4 ships on the board. I could build 1, which, you know, might be a good idea. I didn't take into it, or haven't been remembering, reduce the difficulty of combat anomalies and events by 2. So I could put a combat 4 ship out there, but that's not good enough to deal with this. Destroying something might be worth it, though. I know I get something back if I wreck a ship. If I destroy a ship, I don't think it's a tech. I think it's like $1 billion. Otherwise, look, you know, I'm sending somebody here, but like I'm colonizing there, but that ship's going to be 2 away, so it's going to take quite a few turns to get up to that anomaly if that's where he's going. And yeah, like if I built those 2 ships here, they could get there, they could solve this anomaly. I still couldn't build bases here. And there's nothing to explore there. So it's really kind of an iffy thing, especially since I wouldn't have enough research points to get rid of the thing that is preventing bases. Plus, I'm only allowed 1 planet with bases. So I'm really kind of left with a, oh God, what do I do? You know? And here's the thing. These 2 planets or systems are the 2 that there's no exploration going on in anymore. So like shipping stuff there feels kind of like shipping people there feels kind of painful comparatively. To remember their third capability, you can steal $1 billion from players who are mining or researching a system where you have more ship combat than they do. That hasn't been the case, but it's going to happen here, perhaps. You know, of course, they're going to have bases, which means I raid bases. I don't know what raiding bases does. That sounds like a hostile act, like a combat. That'll be at the combat's at the on the first page. That feels so weird to me. Raid. Choose 1 or more undamaged. Consult the raid table. Great. Great. Why do I need percentiles? Why do I need percentiles for this? Roll a die and percentiles and chance of damage. Ooh. And 2 damage wrecks 1. Wow, that's nasty. Now, I can reduce the roll for a lower result, which again might be cool. Allows me to avoid destruction events. Raid has an escalation cost. Raids with no effect do not. What's no effect? How do you get no effect? Oh, like if I get to destroy a settlement and I can't, or a good or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out. Like, I'm pretty sure I want to build a ship. But if I'm not going to send it here, I don't want to build a settlement. And I'm really not convinced that there's much value to me building a settlement when there are places nearby that I can explore. I haven't moved these markers into place. This guy should have gotten an IP as well. I don't know if I gave it to him or not. I doubt it. If I didn't move the markers, I probably didn't. And unlike before, I'm too far along. Like, it's been a couple of days, I can't remember anymore. What can be done is you can kind of flood the zone, as it were. So for example, he's building a colony ship, right? Well, if this guy decides to attack that colony ship, that will suck for the consortium, there's no question. But if this guy builds a colony ship too, well, they can only hit one of the 2. So I got a 50-50 chance, unless I think that I'm going to be targeted for some reason. It's hard to tell sort of where you are in the game, because there's this huge point salad over here and the cards and all that. And I don't know what directives are and everything. I think, once you start seeing a significant board presence or something, somebody may look like they're in the lead. I know in the original Stellar Horizons, it was possible late in the game to start telling, oh yeah, this guy's doing really well and everybody else is kind of behind him, so they're going to gang up on him. And that's definitely a time when combat comes in handy. It's really, really iffy here. So like, I'm looking at the Givers right now because I did everybody else's ships. Not everybody bought one. But the Givers have like a colony showing up someplace they can't land it. And when they can land it, there's going to be a nasty military settlement going into place. So, I don't know. So one rare material on Earth. Ah, they do want that. Okay. It's combat time. I want to do the combat, even though I'm feeling a little better, but I don't know why. Focusing, reading the different things from a distance, I think that's what was making me feel ill or less well than I wished to be. So this is done in initiative order, and I kind of have to do the whole map because of that, right? I can't look planet by planet. I mean, I guess I could. Conceivably, somebody's action might influence somebody's action on another planet, but I think that's pretty unlikely. So we go here. I think he's not going to make an attack because the cost is just so high. So we're going to skip that one. We don't have any battles anywhere on this side. So then we come up this way, and I want to do this one first because the Praetorians have a directive to initiate fleet combat against the player with the most settlements, other than yourself. Well, only one person has settlements. By the way, it's most... Whoa, most settlement... Oh, fuck. Are things in transit settlements? I don't know. Like, what are they called? Yeah, they're called settlements. Well, that's going to be fucking hard to count. Good God. Well, it's not him, okay? It is not him. He's got the most bases, the only person with a base, but he isn't the most settlements. He's got as the only person with the base, he has the most settlers on planet, but there are people with more settlements because he only has one, which means I have to target probably the consortium. I didn't have a warship, so I couldn't have done it on Earth. The consortium's not here. I kind of want to pick this thing off, so let's do that. He's only got 2 settlers. This guy's got like 4. Or settlements. They are called settlements, even when they're on board a ship, which is a little disturbing to me. And yeah, you got to paw through everything on the board to be able to figure this out. So let's launch an attack there, I guess. We'll see how that works. We've done an attack before, then pulled back from it, right? Oh, by the way, he repaired this ship in part because he wants to go blow things up. So, combat. We don't remember how to do it. Combat is going to be fleet combat. I've got 3, he's got 0. We'll notice combat value of 0 doesn't give you a die roll. I add up the combat values of the attacker and defender, so I've got a 3. I roll a die, in cross-reference, and I add 1/10 of the enemy CV spaces to the die roll. That's 0.2, that's not going to add anything. So I've got a combat value of 3, which means I'm probably going to do a point of damage. I get a big 10, that's going to wipe it out. Oh, I have like a +1 in combat here, and yeah. So that actually gets me to an 11. I do 3 points of damage to that fleet. He's not the guy with the most settlements, though. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3 for the 2 cargo settlements. 3. So I'm going to get 3 draws, and he gets 3 IPs. I think he also gets a bio. I think anytime a CV is destroyed. Yeah, 1 bio plus 1/4 of the ships. Okay. Oh, fuck. Yeah, that's how things get in the wrong cup. Okay, so there's the bio. What did we say, 3 or 4? 1, 2, 3. So he gets 3 more IP. That's no big deal, although he's getting close to being able to pick something up. I get 3 of these fun things. See what we get here. Migration chance down 30. That's going to reduce my my growth, essentially. Draw 1 less trade good. -1 to your combat rolls. What's that shit? Okay, we'll put a bunch of these up here. I got 3 of those. Got a lot of points. What do I need? I need 6 of them. 6 of them to buy the Warlord. I don't know when you're allowed to buy these. I think it's whenever. What was this one? The Admiral. Be attacked by a player who has more escalation. He did not yet. Chancellor is 15 IP. I only have 12. Where are some of these others? Resolve signs. Complicated signs are a whole one while researching. Yeah, I'm never going to remember to look for all these 3 exploration markers. He's got 2. Oh, okay. Yeah, so that's a battle for you. Do I want to do another one? Well, I built this ship to do this. We built this ship. I built that ship to do something. Warlord costs how many? I can't read this shit. I think that's an 8, but I'm not positive. I gotta. Yeah, it looks like an 8, not a 6. So I wouldn't. Oh, I would have enough. Okay. What would we want to destroy? Two undefended ships that are going to be there next turn, right? This is going to be there, though, and that's the tasty. That's the one I want to hit. Right? No, that's this guy. Fuck. Where's he? And it's got to be fleet combat. It can't be just picking on REs, I think. Let's go after the animal spirit. So that's a 6. I've got +1, but now I've got -1. and I get a shitty one. I only do 1 point of damage, and I get some bad boy points for that. In this case, I made a combat, and that's it. So it's 1 IP for this guy. And 1 more nasty chit for him. Earth production minus 2 billion cash. I mean, these aren't that terrible, right? The problem is Warlord isn't one that I can keep. You know, I probably want something else instead, no matter what. But getting it for a while is worthwhile, and maybe I never get a chance for anything else. It's going to put me on cargo transfer and trade. I'm going to swap batteries again. Get the feeling, we may finish this turn, who knows? Who knows, because I'm almost out of tea. Okay, so cargo transfer, let's take a look. I could settle here, but I can't, because there's an anomaly. Movement hasn't happened yet. Okay, that's what I had to make sure of. I could drop people off at Earth. That's not really helpful. This settlement already exists. Nothing exciting I can do there. I could settle here, but I can't yet. I think there is no cargo transfer. That's going to put me on movement. I am going to halt there because, again, I'm out of tea. And I can use the break. 5 hours down the drain for raid, maybe 6, I don't know. It's 5 something. Okay. And now it's time to figure out where I want to move to and try to remember what the hell I'm doing. You know, it's not that big a deal breaking in the midst of a turn, but when you're building ships, quite often you're trying to figure out where they're going to go. Combat definitely complicates things. Transhumans went. You know, I've fled all the way over here with a ship, and I think there's a reason. I think I'm actually no. That somebody had to explore of that. But I'm shifting my new ones into here instead of here where there are military ships beginning to show up. Running out of here with my crewed ship because it's just too dangerous. If people are going to start firing at me, and not everybody is willing to maybe collect these escalation markers, but obviously the Praetorians are, so I want to stay away from their ship at least. And I caught myself screwing up. I'm owed $2 back because I built a couple of these suckers this turn and didn't realize I had that that cost reduction card. I'm really bad at keeping track, and this is something, it's not just solo, it's in opposed games as well. I'm really bad at keeping track of state of those kind of things. Situation Consortium built this. They have $2 off that. The old Stellar Horizons, I think, it may be an optional rule, but had a means of changing where you're going in mid-flight, I think. That you didn't have to actually land in a hostile area. This one, you don't have that option. Problem is, it would be difficult to calculate those kind of changes. First of all, the velocities that you're going at are so high, turning around is going to be hard. Now, with the movement tracks in the original, it helped make that easier. You were going in a certain direction with any given ship, so you could determine if it's just going in the other direction. Yeah, that's a simplification of movement in between planetary bodies. But honestly, it's the windows that you could launch in. They were either 5 or 10-year turns in it. The windows you could launch in were large enough that you could find, some kind of way to align things properly. The only problem is trying to do the calculation by where the planets are. It might be, it might cost you a little bit more than it looks like it would by the calculations. But in this, it's much, much harder because we're traveling in all kinds of different directions. It's not like this simple linear from one planetary orbit to another. Although with some of the larger, some of the planets that are further out, the orbits actually are kind of painful, like to the extent that they actually wouldn't allow many windows to transit in. But yeah, the kind of math that you would need to do now. The one nice thing is everything's pretty stable. The movement of the star systems is not as extreme as the movement, although it's faster, as is the movement of the of the planets. And relative positioning remains pretty constant. So if you could trace it as, if it was as a movement plot or something with some complicated mathematics, you could actually figure out, what it would cost you to switch directions and whatnot. And it could probably be abstracted to a fair amount. Like if I'm heading this way, but I'd have to keep track of how many turns I've headed, right? And then, somehow account for the fact that like I'm approaching light speed and then dumping speed in just where I am. What does have rules for that kind of shit is, I believe, Battlefleet Mars. And it actually handles it pretty nicely. Obviously, High Frontier sort of does, but it's got like this really weird map that like is trying to account for that stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not smart enough to be able to figure out if it works. And it really bothers me. And there's other factors in that game that really bug me, in addition to just the complexity of the dealing and how pulsed it is. Anyway, where am I? I'm trying to figure out the pirates. It's kind of weird. So like, I'm running away from here because I don't want to get shot up. So I send my robots further out. But then I look here and I'm like, oh, lots of targets. I'll go there. It's not like I have cargo or anything on board. What the hell? Meanwhile, though, I'm coming into here where I'm outgunned, and that's problematic. Problems with the Praetorians. First of all, here, I'm the guy who does not have range. And that means I kind of have to stay in that inner circle. That's not pleasant. So I might as well stay here, explore. Maybe I get killed, maybe I don't. My calculations were, although these may have changed, but these guys building two more settlers. I think they're still in the lead. They're not showing up here. I thought they were, but they're not. This ship is not as strong as his two ships together, which kind of means I don't know what I want to do with my ship, right? I've got enough to cope with this. These two together would be enough to cope with that. So I think I'm going to sail into here for exploration value. Now my speed is, I'm okay, I'm a 4. So I think I'm going to head this way because there's nothing to look for here anymore. And I'm not really impressed with what I get out of combat, right? Yeah, I can hurt people, but it's at a big cost in my chips. and I think I'm just gonna try to be a little bit more peaceable, try to hit my directive or whatever, but not really, not really that, not really that happy with a life of criminal activity. At least I can't be raided. And we have the givers here who are concentrating their activity under their own guns, is how they're looking at it. And that's kind of what's starting to happen is people are gravitating towards a place where they can live. Now, the givers have a problem. They have a 60% habitability rating. This is a 40% place, but I can buy more bio before these guys get there, at least, to be able to survive there, at least. It's not ideal, but it's like there's just too much combat power heading this way, and too much combat power over here. This is actually kind of open. He's got his biggest ship heading in there. Don't know how much people are going to be sharing. That's the end of movement. I got to do exploration. How's my T? I think I can do it within my T constraints. Not a whole lot of exploration going on, mainly because everybody's shifting around now. We had a I don't know where it was. I think here somebody searched and lost their ship. Yeah, because it was mechanical. It was the Praetorians. And then working my way. This guy got some tech, that's it. But here I have an interesting option. I have the firepower to get rid of this. So I will do that. And so I get 2 IP and a fauna. Cargo transfer. I couldn't create my base yet. So I don't have room for the fauna. But I get 2 IP. And we'll see what that gives me. I got piles of IP. Warlord is how much? I can't do it yet. Warlord is only 8. So, yeah, I got plenty to buy that. And I flip this over. And it has a biology marker production, which is cool. And now that I've kind of moved myself there, 60% capability. I'm not there yet, but again, I can get there. And I had better do that. We'll see if I can remember. That's all there is just 3 activities. Everybody else is in motion. That's going to drop me down to the developed techs. All right, let's try. Violent things are transhumanists planning on landing here. Instead of wasting that, I spent 10, because of their bonus, to buy a second level 1 genetic, which gives +1 ground combat and planetary assault rolls. I figure that'll help me. I don't know, I'm not really safe against that. And I got the wrong guys here. That, the colors, they're hard for me to cope with. But yeah, I mean, the other option is I come in, I undergo fire, and then I try to transition there. I hope I survive. If I survive, I can land those guys, and they get a bonus. No matter what, I get some kind of benefit. This allows me to keep a card. I did the reshuffles, but not until now. Do I want Tech 1 or Tech 2? Where is Tech 2? I don't know. That's way up here. That's kind of out of my reach. Difficulty seeing the colors. I think if I had my light better over here, this is so bad. But I'm like sure that I can handle things and then don't. Yeah. The True Path went here because it was cheap and they have a card they want to hold. Unfortunately, it's a bio card and they used up what little bio they have. They don't have a lot of tech available to them. I'm actually at a point where I kind of have to stop. My tea's almost out. My pipe is, I mean, I have like one more swig of tea. My pipe is out. I was kind of hoping to at least get through the Praetorians here because I'm trying to remember what they need. But it's not going to be a long break. Praetorians, most of the people are buying stuff relatively cheap. The Praetorians bought a relatively cheap one here, and this is going to be all factions there very shortly. But they also spent 7 more mechanical to improve the size of their ships. Now, this may be an issue. I have 3 ships here. Yeah, that's all I think I have left, which is a big deal because now I can build another bigger ship. It's important for the Praetorians especially, I think, to have the heavier ship types because they want to do combat, so they want more resilience in terms of a bigger size and bigger combat values. And I'm not allowed to have as many ships total. So I want them to count for more. So that seemed like a really good idea, but this I absolutely had to do. But I also wanted to expand this, and I had tons of tech. Not so sure how much I really want to keep my cards either, so they went with that. Seeing the Praetorians go in here, the consortium would kind of like to buy that, but if they wait a turn, they get it for 5 instead of for 7. So it seems worth waiting. I kind of like my cards, so I don't want to dump them necessarily. I don't know. I have a Type 2, which I can actually build, but I don't have the points for it by any means. And I don't quite have the points for the genetic one, which I also want, I guess. I have a lot of engineering points. That 7 could get me to a better habitability. Could get me a better CV malfunction rate. I could go up for terraforming for 10, but I don't have that. I think I may pick up the malfunction rate. Farrers bought this as a fairly cheap thing they could afford. They could have shifted their way up to the advanced settlement, but I don't even have a colony anymore. My colony got wiped out essentially. I don't really want to spend on other things. This isn't too bad. Draw an extra trade good. You can produce flora and fauna in any system, sell them for extra. Seems like that'll be neat, although I really have questions whether trade is at all valuable. And then for the givers, they actually decided they didn't like their cards. So even though maybe they wanted to do an engineering, you know, this one is going to get cheaper. This one we could have done at 5, but I kind of wanted to dump my cards. And the bio, I actually think I need the bio, but I don't need it this turn. My settlers don't arrive for quite some time, and I haven't found a planet or anything, so I can delay in order to throw out some cards. That gets us to the end of the turn. We're almost done with the century. which of course will get to higher earth production. Things are really moving slowly. I don't feel like anybody's like, we only have one base right now, for example, and it feels pretty damn tenuous. I'll get around to shuffling those, and then I think I take a break. Afternoon Sunday, I got up about an hour ago or so. It's like getting on 4, and raid starts at 5, but I don't necessarily have to jump right in. And I figure I'll finish off this century. It's kind of interesting, it's a nice day. If I had woken up early, I might have gotten out and cut some wood. Everything's still a little damp outside, and it's supposed to rain again tomorrow, so it is getting warmer though. So I got like windows open and everything. Let's see what our chit is. Roll initiative and discard escalation. So this is the first time we've gotten discard escalation where it mattered. Let's take a look if we can find it. Players declare IPs to spend increasing their relative roll. Oh, I forgot that you can buy. It wasn't that important before, but now it might be with combat in play. So I've got to think about that. It costs IPs, and they give 20% bonuses. That's going to add to the complexity of the whole decision-making process. But then you can discard half your escalation markers, rounding up, I guess, which is of some help to the Praetorians, of course. IPs are a high expense, so you're going to have to really want the initiative to spend one. It happened. I got, my band on my foot that I often put there. Something happens to the tendons under my feet, and it's really bad today. I looked around. Nobody's got a bonus on initiative that I see, which means he's got 12. Isn't that an important amount? Could he buy Chancellor for 12? No, it's 15. 12. Yeah. And the others all require successes. I'm trying to make a decision on the points here. And also how I'm going to record it. Yeah, I got a lot of numbers and maybe can fudge some of these, but it's kind of hard to record stuff. But I've got these spaces up here, which would be at least give me the tens digits. He has oh, and I keep forgetting he has that, which actually makes him capable of dealing with more anomalies. It's just so hard to remember all the cards you have. Yeah, with him having that bonus, that saves him from having to, or from wanting to pay. And others, it's really, really tough to spend that IP when you don't know what you're going to use the initiative bonus for. Like, it doesn't allow you to escape from a planet or something like that. It doesn't really give you too much edge. It just allows you to have some small advantages within the sequence of play. But are they really advantages? Not always, usually. So I don't think anybody's going to spend. That's how I'm going to record. I got a 53. Now I could do this like this, perfectly fine, which is what I was doing before. But instead I'm going to just put the 3 out there, and I'm going to put the 50 up here. And that'll help me keep track of what the numbers are. It's just for a short period of time, and I don't want to pull out a whole bunch of extra dice or anything, or number markers. Get further down the line, and I hit here, I get like an 80 something. I think it was an 81. I decided, yeah, I'm not gonna mark by moving counters and whatnot, because it's so unlikely. So I end up with a lot of blanks out there. The one place where I have a tie is here in the tens digit, and that's going to be both. I can't tell who this is. Yeah, it's the Givers. The Givers have a 3 there. I put aside, I think, an 8. Sometimes it's hard to remember, what I set up at any given time. So we'll get that. And then the rest of these, hey, they each landed on their own tens digit, which is not unlikely. Praetorians in the middle of the pack. They get to dump 2 of these. Let's look at what we have and what we hate. Earth production reduced. I don't like that. I definitely don't want -1 to combat rolls. Less trade goods, migration chance. I'll keep these 2. And that puts these back in the cup. And that is our economic phase, and we go on to movement. I mentioned it before, I don't really like these Pollard counters. They're fine when there's not a settlement on top, or trade goods or something like that. But once you start getting a stack on there, things start getting kind of annoying with them. More is going to be happening this turn. We've got a lot of arrivals. Here especially, a whole bunch, all those ships arrived, but here, just a lot of places where the game is going to start happening again. Where last turn, it's kind of nice that it was an Earth production turn, because so much was in flight. That gets us to build and repair, which is always a hard part. Last turn of the century, but it does mean the max ships levels, well, actually they're staying the same for him, remain the same, which is kind of problematic. I got 3, 4, 5 ships out there. Now I can destroy an RE or something. Right now I don't have anything to build, but I was looking at trying to get my my CV levels up. Uh-oh, forgot to move these again. Did anybody get anything? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. Let's get that there. I don't know why pink was. I'll actually put another one there. I got tons of these, and they will help me see what's going on. I don't think, if anybody hit a new one, I already did that. I knew it would happen. I cheated. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these. I probably cheated with this guy. One of these 2 was a cheat. That was $4. I'll just take it back and undo the problem. But I gotta tell you, keeping a count of your ships is really painful. They're covered up, there's clutter all over the board and everything. Having a maximum number of ships is particularly painful in this game. Anyway, obviously he won't build anything since he cheated last turn. I feel like it's perfectly fine to just refund him the money and not say, oh, you're screwed, you got to destroy one. The Starfarers, on the other hand, have enough room for a couple of ships, and I buy them. I do a little bit different choice than last time. I'm only putting 1 settler on board this ship. I'm heading, I think, to Vega. Yeah. I'm heading to get within range of Vega so I can do exploration up there. Unfortunately, right now, there's no good place for me to go to get closer to Vega. Now, I am allowed a second base, so I could try to slip into something like this. I could also maybe increase CV range. That's hard. That's a lot of effort that I have to put in tech-wise to get there. But I do have time, but it's all physics tech, and you know, you don't tend to have a shit ton of any given tech. I could head to a physics planet. See, this is where I probably would like to live, but boy, there are a lot of Praetorians there. And I'm not really sure that that's viable. But they may move on and solve the problems here, which would be kind of clever of them. So I may go to Lumen. Lumen has a 60% habitability, which I am sure I can do. Everybody can. And these actually drop to a 40 so that they can survive here. Now next turn, their basis goes up so they could actually populate both if they so desired. I don't know. Like, this isn't terribly appealing right now with just one planet, but it's a better planet than either of those, so yeah, maybe, and whatever. Just trying to figure out. There's a possibility somebody could attack me here. The people I'm most worried about is the Praetorians. Praetorians are only allowed 4 ships, and they have 3 there. So they could only build 1 warship. That helps. And if they have any Pinkos anywhere else, which they don't seem to, but they could build a hell of a big warship. Which they do. They're like, I want those things. All of the players except the 2 who built here are full up on ships. And it's like, yeah, you could wreck a ship in order to get, you know, the capacity to build something else. But it doesn't feel like this is some kind of particularly auspicious time to build ships. And that's going to put me down to combat. And let's take a quick scan. There's one developing here. We know Earth. There's possibility here. And that's it. So Earth and Alpha Centauri. Combat is done in initiative order, which means yellow would have first shot. Shooting this up seems kind of icky. But what about shooting that up? Well, I kind of like people being in the same place as me. I don't feel like, unless I have some directive, that I terribly want to cause any issues there. And Sirius is down here next to me. That's where I want to complete a survey, if I recall. You know, I mean, I know that that's where I want to do it right now. When I come to the exploration phase, it's going to be hard to remember that that's my directive, right? Because the directives are spread out all over the place. So I think he will not attack. And the next viable choice is this guy, he might. What the syndicate's good at is raiding. They'd love to raid this, but there's a CV out there they're not allowed to. And I don't want to fight that CV. What's my goal? My goal is to trade, not particularly focused on combat. Seems like I'm just going to get bad stuff happening if I hit there. What is this third one? Which you have more ships combat value than they do. Yeah, I mean, these guys might do mining, but they can't after they deploy their base, right? So it's like, yeah, what do you want to do, you know? So my special ability kind of doesn't kick in there. I think I'm going to pass. Again, it just doesn't feel like hurting other people is particularly advantageous because you do it at a cost to yourself. The Praetorians are being dicks because they kind of want to collect those bad boys up. And that'll bring me to them. Now, they can't hit this, but they can hit this, and they will. They're like, thumbs up, man, we want more counters. So, they're at an 8. They have a +1 to their combat. There's no combat capability on the defending ship. A roll of a 3 is shitty. We only do 1 hit. And we take lots of nastiness off of that. And that's, you know, I was expecting to at least destroy the enemy, right? All kinds of nastiness with a combat. In the Sol system, we're going to be getting 3. He gets 3 IP for that. We actually probably helped him by doing that point of damage. And what fun things do I get? I get a victory point. Well, we'll keep that. Earth production minus 3 billion in cash. Not good. Settlements cost an extra billion on Earth. Not great. And we are now at 5 of those. We need to find another one somewhere so we can buy Warlord. That was combat. Cargo transfer and trade. You know, it's kind of funny. I'm not really sure if the settlement is built on top of the ship to begin with, or if it's like floating around on Earth. But before movement happens, I could pick up like an extra trade good at this point. I've been just putting the settlements on top of the ships because I think they should be. But yeah. Do I care to haul trade goods anywhere? I don't know. Probably not, but what I do care to do is to create some bases. Oh, everybody is settling Alpha Centauri who can. He's settling Lumen. Question, I might have wanted to bring an extra guy to bring him over here, but I got a guy here for that. I'm going to be up to 2 bases next turn. I think everybody's got at least 2 on next turn. And, you know, yes, I did a little bit of a slow start, but getting that first base down takes a significant amount of time. You got to find the planets. Yeah, you could ship out settlers to begin with, just like you did in the Footfall Among the Stars scenario, the first solo scenario I did. I think I'm going to take a little bit of a break. My foot is killing me. I don't know. I don't have a lot of time. All right, I'll refill my pipe and switch batteries, and that's it. Also upped my wrapping game. I didn't even think about this, but yeah, back when things were really bad, I have it near me, but I've used it in the past few months. It's just kind of weird. Okay, for movement, the sort of default is try to stay where you are, because the cost of movement is so high at this point in the game, just in terms of it takes so many turns to get somewhere. But there are things that, you know, you got to escape from. Or there are places that are no longer explorable and no longer really useful to you. Once you build a base somewhere, you kind of don't want to be there anymore. You can't research, you can't mine. You can transfer stuff, that's about it. I'm going to keep an eye on things like, for example, here, I've got this RE here. Look, he can do some more exploration, maybe he's destroyed or whatever before something that can wreck him gets in there. So I might as well stick around a little longer. Here's a big question. Where does he go? Does he go back home to Earth? Maybe grab that medicine that he has to deliver here. Maybe grab some more colonists to grow my settlement, although I mean, like, boosting the size of your settlement by shipping people there is not the best solution, but growth is really going to be slow. So, or do I want to go somewhere and explore? Well, I want to sell trade goods at Earth. I might get trade goods here, and that might increase its chances as I start growing that base. Earth's kind of a dangerous place to go. Exploration is kind of cool because it gets me stuff, but I don't have another transport ship available. So I think I'm going to send that back to Earth. Let me check my CV speed. Again, you got to do this all the time. So that's a 4. What kind of would make sense for me for colonization is you wouldn't send the ship back. It would be the colonizers, right? You would actually dismantle that ship and make it part of the colony. It should make more sense that way. That's just my thinking as to how these long distance transports would take. Fuel is probably not expensive. You're probably using something that's really common throughout the galaxy. But time is expensive. And Earth obviously can afford to build ships relatively cheaply. The materials that they have and the technology and whatnot would probably be best used at the colony itself. So it feels like there should be colonial transports, essentially, as there are in Stellar Conquest, for example, or SE4X, as opposed to, like, yeah, let's go back and grab some more stuff. And in a way it would make sense, but the value that I get out of dismantling this ship is just so low. Right? I can dismantle it for like half money. I don't know. Maybe it's worth it. Maybe it's worth dismantling and rebuilding instead. No, you only get money back if you do it in Sol, which really doesn't make sense. Because, I mean, sure, you might scrap it there, but you should be getting something for dismantling a ship at a colony. These are the kind of things that I'm like, you know, I pick on this just because when I start using reason to try to figure out how this kind of settlement would work and everything, it feels like the game's not really matching it. It's not really a critique of the game. You can make arguments that there are reasons, you can make political reasons or whatnot why that's not sensible for everyone, but it seems like most factions would actually be, the only faction that wouldn't is perhaps the consortium, because they feel somebody who wants to keep a space fleet out might be the ones who do not dismantle their ships. But it just feels like almost everything, even ships with military capability, you'd want that military capability as ground-based defenses and stuff. That would be all kinds of complexity to track, right? If you move transport capability somewhere, you might get like warehouses in another planet. If you move military weaponry, a ship with a military capacity to another planet and dismantle it there, you might get defenses, ground defenses from it. The scientific, I don't know, but all that stuff should probably be being scavenged and reused on the planet rather than being sent back to Earth, where the cost, the cost of building the ship is cheapest, essentially. Praetorians decide to leave this ship here because this one is sufficient to handle the nanobot swarms. It's not sufficient to handle this, but after a turn I can deal with that. And that's kind of a threat because the Starfarers went to this planet. They need to go to this planet. This is their route to Vega. And they're kind of walking into a trap again. They just have a goal that happens to be directly conflicting with where the Praetorians happen to be, and it's problematic. Yeah. Issue movement-wise, again, this is uninteresting now, right? It's populated. Everybody who had ships there populated it. They want to move on and find new stuff, or in this guy's case, transport stuff to Alpha Centauri and try to build it up. So yeah, we're beginning to see some expansion, and as people expand out of that core, in part because of the threat of violence, the chance of violence is decreasing. Although not for the poor Starfarers. Working my exploration zigzag. We did one here, didn't get anything. But here, we weren't able to land bases because of this, but we got enough to kill it. That gets us 5 IP. And that's a nice payoff. And this goes away. I think I don't want to put this somewhere where it's accessible, so I'll throw it in the box. But yeah, next turn we can settle a base. That base has bonuses, which comes about. And can we settle that? I hope so. If not, we have to buy technology. I think the path has to buy technology. Ooh. They have to get down to 30% for this, 20% for that. I mean, maybe we move on, but because that's hard. 40% is here. Any system. Well, they're cheap advances. They're biology though, and I don't have no biology. Worse, I'm not set up to find more biology either. I may have to spend influence and or money to get that tech. Something kind of exciting happened here. He made a discovery. Lots of physics. His new planet, he gets to replace the no world marker. That actually goes away. Again, we'll throw it over here. Not really sure I care that it goes away. And then an anomaly check, which got me nothing. But I got a success. Now, I think I'm forgetting. I get an IP for successes. Somebody else got a success too. Things I can't remember in my head. When you complete the last survey, you get an IP. Okay. Not any survey. That kind of stuff, it's really hard for me to recall. That is going to put me up here. And then that's my last exploration call. Iridium had a lot of tech. They want to keep their cards, sort of. They're going to be the last people to buy the fusion rockets here. Got that real cheap, $5, whatever, or 5 physics. I have enough I could do like an engineering tech, and I could actually gain some ground. First of all, I could get this for 5. I could just continue going on here, but that would cost 15. That's pretty heavy. Although it comes with lots of benefits for REs. I was most interested in building the heavier CV class stuff for cheap because, again, I'm trying to hold my cards. But my number of ships doesn't increase. I don't really see a point to it right now. I've got 5 ships out there. Okay. That's not me. Do I have 5 ships out there? Maybe I lost one. I got 3, 4. I could build more CVs. That's interesting. Of course, being able to build a bigger CV means that this was a stupid move. And I should be out exploring with that ship. Fuck. It's hard to, like, it's so hard to justify going back to Earth, and I did it. And now I'm like, yeah, you know, I kind of want to buy that extra type of ship. Where am I exploring? I'm exploring in a biology world. I'm going to put shittier points in. I am indeed going to buy the bigger ships too. I have a lot of tech. I mean, maybe it'll make sense because I can build this ship with its heavy transport capability, no military. Wow, this is really not much better than that thing. My ships kind of suck. But I could just keep a constant flow of colonists heading out and materials if more materials are showing up. And try to work, I am the trader, right? So I should try and do that as much as possible. Oh, but I'm not the guy with medicine. I'm also not the guy who owns the ship. Holy fuck. All right. 3. I mean, I definitely want to build a ship then. Yeah. Yeah, I'm really having trouble with the color differentiation. There's just too much on top of other things and whatnot. And my eyes aren't what they used to be. The cost of tech is getting high. Orbital shipyards, 20. I'm not on this track. I could buy these kind of cheaply if I want to hold my cards. Bio, I'm not on this track. I could buy this kind of cheaply. This isn't too bad, but I don't really need to settle right now. I was looking at the orbital shipyards. I'd really like to buy those bigger ships. But I definitely don't have enough of any of that. So I think I'm kind of at I think I'm willing to ditch my cards and see what happens. I don't have a lot of resources to go forward. And like, you know, it's not like I have a lot of IPs. I don't have a shit ton of money. So I think holding off might not be a bad idea. Another big bump is trying to get the CV range higher. That's a big deal. RE range is also important to these guys, our starfarers, so that they can go explore Vega if I can't settle here because there's too many Praetorians shooting me. So I bought this, which improves the RE movement right now, but I'm wanting to get up to this big one. And it's not expensive to get to. Those are 10-point spaces each. It's just, there's sort of the, wow, do I really want to do that? How much do I need for Chancellor? I need 15 IP. I will draw an influence at the start of each turn. That sounds really good. I'm buying it. And that means that a new chit gets pulled. New one is Guildmaster. You need to sell 3 trade goods on Earth. Again, this all has to be done at once because there's no mnemonic device there. You earn an influence for each trade good that you sell on Earth. It costs 9. Okay. Whatever. If you're not short on cash, selling goods at Earth all at once isn't necessarily hard because you can store them on Earth. You don't have to sell them. And then once you have enough built up, so you don't need, ridiculous shipping capacity. And it's not just the shipping capacity, it's the luck factor of getting one of, getting trade goods to show up at all, and particularly the ones that Earth actually wants. But if you start shipping them there slowly, yeah, you could build up a pool and be able to do it all at once. Praetorians here, they have this stupid goal that makes them look for stuff every time. Initiate fleet combat against the player with the most settlements other than you. This was this guy. He's got 5. But now I got to look around everywhere else and make sure that no one else has more. Now, he did not have more, and I initiated combat against him. It's this guy I got to go beat up. Right now. But that could shift. Somebody could build a few on, on Earth and just, throw my plans out the window as I keep trying to hunt for things. Path also ditched a card, or its cards. That's becoming less and less of a big deal. Especially if you have your couple of Type 1s and you don't have Type 2s available to build yet. It's kind of like, they're high price for what they are, and there's plenty of stuff there that I'm kind of needing to do. And they're just becoming, less of a concern to try to hold cards. In general, the cards can be a little cheaper than buying a tech initially. We saw a lot of activity in building up to level 3 CVs. And then some other stuff. This goes in here. These guys fill this out. I think both of these are filled out at this point. Takes us to the end of the century. The big deal there, these Earth production charts and the maximums that you're allowed have increased. And that's a big deal. That is a big deal. But it doesn't immediately impact anything. It's well past raid time at this point, so I will be gone for quite a while, I guess. I think with the beginning of a new century, this is a good place to load up.